One. Hello, Sarah.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. Good to see you. I miss seeing you around the art center, friend.
I know.
Yeah,
It's been a while since we've been there.
I know. Decades, it feels like. Seriously. Oh my gosh. Well, thanks so much for being a part of the market. Why don't you give everyone a little bit of info about yourself and your business and where you're located, all that stuff.
Okay. So I'm Sarah Catherine. I do ceramics. However, I have a background in fine arts in general. And I'm located in Raritan, New Jersey currently.
Hey, Jersey girl. And you also teach with me at the Visual Arts Center, and
Yep.
you teach all sorts of classes, which is super cool. Tell us more about the kind of ceramics that you make.
So the ceramics I do is mostly wheel thrown. Sometimes I alter, sometimes I do an occasional sculpture, but I'm really not a big fan of hand building. So that's mostly what I do. I do a lot of also raku work, which is a special type of firing that I do with my friend Peter Sayak, another teacher at the Visual Arts Center. And what it is it's you take a piece when it's burning hot out of the kiln and you put it in a bunch of combustibles that add different types of colors on the outside. So it's not really food safe or waterproof, but the colors and the patterns come out fantastic.
So it's the coolest thing. They're so freaking pretty. And those are like best used for like wearables and stuff, right? Because then it's like you can function.
Wearable. The way I get around the fact that they're not waterproof, because I still like to make vases, is you can take basically a glass and put
smart.
it inside.
Yeah,
So
that makes sense.
yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah, I love that. So tell us about how you moved into doing your ceramics kind of like as your hustle and as a side business, because you don't do this full time, you do other things too. So tell us about that.
Okay, so background is I am an art teacher. I teach high school art in Franklin Township, so it's Somerset. And I also teach at the Visual Arts Center after that about 2 or 3 times a week. So I'm quite busy. But I also take adult classes at the Visual Arts Center in ceramics. And the reason I got into it is because I think it's 4 years now. 4 years ago, I got a teaching job as kind of like a medical leave. So it was only for 4 or 5 months. And it was for ceramics. And I had never really touched ceramics before. But I totally told them that I was great and I'm going to do a good job.
Fake it till you make it.
So they hired me and I had to learn. So I got the hang of it. I did take one like little small class in college, so I had an idea of what I was doing.
Yeah.
But afterwards I was like, I really want to know how to do this properly. So after that ended, I ended up taking what's called a winter boot camp at the Visual Arts Center. And it was just for 4 days and it's just like hours of work. And it was with Lizette Bedoya, another teacher at the Visual Arts Center, who is fabulous and really an expert in ceramics. So she is fun and she made it fun. And then I was hooked. And I have not missed a session at the Visual Arts Center since that time. So it's been 4 years now that I've been taking workshops and classes.
Yeah, that's the best. I know Lisette's hysterical and amazing and like such a good teacher. I wish I should go take a class with her now in the future. I would love to do that.
Oh, she's so much fun. And we're like very close friends now. So it's great.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what is your favorite part? Did I ask you that? Did I just ask you that? No. Your favorite part about owning your business and running stuff?
So I got into the business mostly because I needed space in my house. Ceramics takes up space, and I live in less than 500 square feet. So, but also just like a side note of like getting into small business, I took small business management classes in college. Mm-hmm. So I was originally a graphic design major and going to become my own business owner. So I took a lot of those classes, as well as growing up, my dad owned his own business. Yeah. He was a lawyer and his law office was in our basement. So there was many times where I assisted him in his law office with a lot of different things and kind of learned how to run my own business from that.
Right, right.
So my favorite thing about owning my own business is the fact that like I get to do all of it. I get to be the person that talks to the customer. I get to be the person that receives the information. I get to be the person that kind of says what I'm willing to do, what I'm not willing to do as a small business.
Yeah.
I've even kind of rebranded myself because of COVID-19. I am not small. I am micro.
Okay.
I call myself a micro business.
Wait, is
because
that smaller
I
or
do it.
bigger than a small business?
It's smaller.
Okay.
Because I don't do this for a living, and
Right.
I depend on having a
Yeah.
studio not in my house open for me to go to.
Right,
So
right.
the fact that I don't have that really made me realize how tiny I am.
Oh, yeah, I understand. Well, I
Um,
think like, I'm sure that's more of you getting a better grasp of what your abilities are, more so than like putting yourself down. It's more of just like categorizing yourself into the realities of what you can and cannot do right now.
exactly. I don't think it is a negative thing. It's just like a good idea to be like, oh, this is where I am right now.
Yeah.
It's certainly not where I plan to stay.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's so true. That's a good point, I think, for people to recognize. And you can categorize yourself however you want, but if it's helpful to to accept that part, then that's great. And then you'll have just more space to grow into those next steps above you, which is great. So what advice do you have for someone either wanting to start their own micro business or small business or whatever?
So branding is huge. As a graphic design background, I did my own logo. I do all my own brochures and flyers and all that kind of stuff. Having a clear image of who and what you are is big.
Yeah.
So my logo is my initials. It's an S and a C. And that is just, I found it the easiest way for someone who is multi-material faceted as I am. The best way to go about branding myself is to use my name rather than anything that has pottery or ceramics in it. Mm-hmm. So my business is Sarah Catherine Art.
Yeah.
And then just because not too long ago I got married, the reason I use my middle name rather than my last name is so I could change it if I wanted to.
Smart.
So just a shout out to women who are thinking about that.
Yeah, sure. Mm-hmm. I love that. Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah. Well, I also usually went by my middle name a lot of the times because growing up, there was 5, 10 different Sarahs in my grade.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh my, yeah, probably one of the most popular names of our generation.
Yeah.
That's so
but yeah, so if you're thinking about starting out, start out with what is it that you want to do, but you kind of also have to imagine what you're going to be doing 5 years down the road.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think you and I have talked a bunch about like if people want to do shows, like can you talk a bit about being a ceramicist in the craft field, in the craft show world?
It's a scary place to be. There's competition. A lot of people are in pottery, a lot of people are in jewelry, a lot of people are doing that kind of stuff. So you really have to also think about what shows are best for your product.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, just because of cost of materials, my products tend to be a little more expensive.
Yeah.
I think the lowest item, now that I'm making tiny jewelry, the lowest item I have is like $10, which doesn't sound like much, but to people who are just kind of fluttering through, it might be too much. Mm-hmm. So I usually try to now stick to just things that are really considered like the craft fine arts shows.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it means that they're a little more expensive to pay for a booth. I don't think I go to any shows that are like less than $80 to $100 now.
Yeah.
And then I have shows that can cost up to $300.
Mm-hmm.
So
right.
It's expensive to get yourself there, but the profits usually are worth it.
Right. Well, yeah, that's the balance of like paying to get into a show like that. And then if you have stuff that's like, at the medium to higher price point of what you do, and you're in a larger show where people are like, it is fine art where they're charging thousands of dollars, then your stuff becomes affordable for the people that are there because it's like more of like an easy takeaway item that they could purchase. Yeah, I think you and I were talking about this at like one of the street fairs. It's like you know, having mugs at a street fair is like, first of all, nerve-wracking because it's just like you're outside, there's wind, there's people, and it's like,
Oh my
ooh.
gosh, dogs. That was my biggest fear at my first
Oh
show
no,
was
wagging
dogs.
tails. Oh my gosh. Yeah. But I think it's cool because like I know you have the versatility to kind of adapt to, you know, it's still within your range of things that you make, but you're starting to make growlers and like more beer mugs, and like, you know, we live close to Hackettstown where there's tons of breweries, so like there's markets that you can shift your product to reflect what people might be buying, which is kind of cool.
Yes, I
Yeah.
am lucky in that sense that I can kind of be like, okay, so for holidays, I need to make like, I'm very
Yeah.
famous for my gnomes,
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
winter gnomes.
Mhm.
And then I'm starting to go back to breweries. I kind of swore off them at first. I was like, no, I'm never doing a brewery show again because no one buys anything. They just drink.
Right.
But since I've started to be like, oh, maybe I need to like make things that represent where I'm going.
Yeah, right, right. It's a good lesson. You have to try it. You have to throw it at the wall and see how it sticks or not. It's all part of the process. So we were talking a bit off camera about this, but tell us about how you've had to pivot during these times, especially having to pivot everything from your teaching life to your crafting life and your making life. How has that been for you?
COVID-19 has been an interesting time for me. I am fortunate and lucky that nothing has really affected my family or my life too much. So that's good.
Right.
However, I do, again, live in less than 500 square feet. And I don't have a studio at home. My studio is owned by other people, and I go to it. So I have, much to my husband's chagrin, taken over the dining table. The kitchen is now my space. And there is very fragile drying pottery everywhere.
Oh no, and you have cats too, so that's kind of terrifying.
And he has already broken a couple pieces. So
Oh my god.
that's kind of like, I don't even get upset about it. That was something I had to accept when I decided to start making things at home.
Yeah.
Is know that half this stuff will probably not make it.
Which is the process. Like I thought you have to have a ceramicist anyways, but then you have the added thought of your cat participating in the breakage.
Oh my God. I remember the other day I hear crunch and I look around and I'm like, oh no. And I look over at one of my like boxes and I just see him sitting in it on top of my stuff. That's now like in dust underneath him.
Oh my gosh. Studio cats are a blessing and a curse.
Right. So yeah, I've taken over the dining room table. I don't have a wheel at home, even though I am definitely a wheel person. So I have to get used to hand building, which has been like a test between my husband and our like marriage. Because I get very frustrated if I can't be like really good at something at the beginning.
Yeah.
So
Right.
trying to make a mug hand building versus throwing is a very different experience. And the other day I like yelled and then threw the clay across the room and my husband was like, okay, I give up.
Oh no.
He like just walked away. He's like, I'm done.
Gosh. Time for a break. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a process. It's what you got to deal with during this time. You adapt, you adapt, you adapt. Like I teach my classes. This is the wall in my kitchen, and this is where I teach all of my online classes too for the Visual Arts Center. And then I don't even do video with my high school because half my students don't actually have internet or computers.
Oh my god.
So
Wow.
half the time it's Google Classroom and the other half of the time it's sending the work to my school and they're printing packets and putting them on buses and delivering them to kids.
Wow. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. It's and when are you done with school technically?
Technically it's like the end of June. I think it's like June 25th or something.
Still? Oh my god.
Oh, it's bad. I don't know what we're going to do.
Oh my word. Wow.
My kids are like, well, I'm also, so during the school year this year, I taught ceramics and I also taught film survey. Film survey is just what it's called. You watch movies.
Yeah.
So all of my kids are very unhappy to be trying to do like packets.
Yeah, I'm sure. And they're like, can we just watch the movie? Oh my gosh. Wow. Well, I think that, yeah, totally. it's fueled our creative fire of like pushing us to this level of what can I do when I have to do it, you know, and finding out how far the pendulum can swing.
Well, and it goes back to, so then it goes back to shows and talking about the shows and what can you expect. So I was signed up for the Hackettstown Oktoberfest, but I can't make my mugs and growlers and things like that because I don't have my wheel. So I had to cancel that show and focus on my winter show where sculptures can sell. So that's what I've been working on, is doing a bunch of different sculptures at home right now.
Yeah, that's smart. Yeah. Yeah, we have to, it is true. We're thinking already to December, but that's probably the time when things hopefully will be in the new normal of experiencing things in person again. So we gotta do what we gotta do. So how can people best support you right now? What kind of stuff do you have on your Etsy shop? Tell us a bit about what we can look forward to in the future, even after this market.
So my Etsy shop, unfortunately, is just whatever I have that's old. I don't feel like it really represents me very well right now. A lot of the work is stuff that I did a year or two ago. And I feel I'm much more experienced now. But the best way to support me is to find a little something you like. Do you like any of my stuff? I occasionally do orders now that I'm rebranding as like micro. I'm trying to do less orders, so it's more just selling whatever I make. But a lot of the stuff on my Etsy right now is like little espresso cups and mugs and bowls, and I have a couple raku pieces. Of course, the raku is more expensive, but it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and they all make great gifts for people. It's a good time to shop for others right now. And
Father's Day coming up.
Father's Day. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think we were saying this before, but like people supporting you now and helping you clear out your studio and get rid of, you know, stuff that you've had will just make room for new stuff once you're able to fire everything and get new stuff up.
Yeah, because of how small I am, I don't really like have income from this. What I aim towards is my business kind of is based on the idea, can it fund itself?
Right.
I want to make enough money to pay for the classes I have to take, to pay for the kilns I have to pay for firing, and to pay for my supplies. If it can pay for itself, then I'm golden. I'm happy with that. That means I keep continuing to explore and learn, and I don't have to worry about having to find that extra income, because the other thing that makes me so micro is the fact that right now, personally, my husband is going back to school, so we're living off one income while he's doing that.
Right. Oh my gosh. Wow. All the power to you, all of the everything, good vibes and happy hand building to you. You have some really cool pieces from your wedding still, I think, up on your Etsy shop, right? Those vases that you made from your wedding. Yeah. So that's a super special thing that people could buy from you. They're so pretty. Oh my gosh, such a cool idea.
Thank you. Yeah, they're fun candle lanterns that have leaves on them, and fall will be coming not too long.
I know, seriously, this year is zipping by, but well, thank you so much, Sarah. I'm so glad to talk to you in person again, or in person, virtually in person, see your face again, and hopefully, you know, you can crank out some cool stuff, and all the best to you for this market.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, friend. I'll talk to you soon.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.